Do you ever see things on Facebook Marketplace upcycled and they're going free, if not they're going to be in landfill? Well, this is exactly one of these pieces. I'm Lel, I paint furniture. Watch on to see what happens. Hi, it's Lel, and I turn furniture into functional art. What's happened to this today? Well, what hasn't happened? It was picked up for free on Facebook Marketplace. I cannot describe what has happened when it comes to the paint, the scratches, the other bits of paint. Just everything about it screams, let's get this sorted. So follow along and I'll show you what I'm about to do next. So I'm going to paint this whole piece with 2 coats of Annie Sloan's Emile. Okay, 2 coats of Emile done. Tick VG. Now we're going to be doing our decoupage. Now I'm going to be using today 2 sets, some papers out of 2 sets. One of them is whimsical, and I'm going to be using this sort of jester type guy. He's one. And the other one I'm going to be using toadstool, and I have 2 toadstools from this. Now, if you've noticed, there's big gaps in here, and what I've actually done is I've just cut out the shaded background, and that's a good way if you want to apply your decoupage onto your coloured furniture and work with it that way. Then you can just cut the background out. Now, this is going to be almost fussy cut, but I am going to be painting in here, but I don't know where to paint until I've applied the paper, so it's a little bit confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply now. My inspo today is a tarot sort of kind of idea with, you know, like the full on it. It's not going to look like a tarot card, but it's where my inspiration is kind of coming from, and I've got my stamps and everything. This is my colour palette here, and I'm thinking this sort of look for the piece. So this is where I'm going, and I put all this together, and now I'm going to hopefully execute it. But the first thing I need to do is I want a decoupage. Now I want his head just about here. Yeah, so I'm going to build it round where he sits, because down here, if I put him down here, it's just there's too much detail to go over there with the decoupage. Not that it can't go over detail, it can, but I'm losing quite a bit at the bottom there, so I'm bringing him up and I'll work the rest of the design around him. So I think he's going to be kind of front and centre. I don't mind a little bit of his hat being there and these ruffly parts going over the here, and we start here. So I'm going to go on and decoupage it. I'm going to get Martin to put a link up the top, which is how to apply Made by Marley decoupage paper. It's just a couple of minutes long. It's just purely applying a decoupage paper, but we have numerous videos of how to do it. And then when you come back, this will be stuck on. Okay, so once you've got your jigsaw applied, you don't have to wait for it to dry. It can dry while we're doing the in-betweeny parts. Now, what my intention is, and I'm just getting a brush, the right brush for the job here. My intention is to kind of blend around it. I can see a bit left there, just let me push that down, with the greens. Now, what have I got here? Let's just run down here. We've got Feeder Blue, Amsterdam Green, Antibes Green, and Chateau Grey, because this is the colours that I see. Now, we're not going to take the blend out too far, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try and keep it quite tight, but obviously because I've made the jigsaw, I've pieced in parts, pieced together. So the next sort of colour is this sort of grey-blue. So we want in some of this, and a touch of blue. And I can see that it needs a little bit more blue, more blue, more blue. See if that's a bit dark. Hang on. It's going to need a little bit of cream in this, this is old ochre. I'm just going to put a blob of that on the side. And this is what you need to do when you're blending, just till you get where you want to go. And I think that's, see that there? That's that colour there, the one above it anyway. So let's just bring that down here just now. That's what's happened when I'm painting it so fresh. Just get that into here. And this edge here, I wouldn't worry too much about it. What I would do is I'd probably just go down it with my brush and then smudge it out with my finger. Because then you've got rid of that sort of paper line where you've joined them. And then just tap around it, maybe a little bit more. This darker shade that I mixed up. Just bring that down there. Bring that into there, make it look like it's supposed to be there. Yeah, there we go. Away. Here. Now, as I said, really that part here is his sleeve, so we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's just mark that out so I know that's his sleeve. There's a bit of lift there. Everything's a bit fresh, so I'm just kind of... So this colour here, I'm just going to keep it nice and light because, and I don't want it to go out too far, as I've already said. So I'm going to kind of water down my paint a wee bit here. So really lighten it up a bit with some white. And let's go in and around here. Not too high. As I said, it has to kind of stop somewhere. So let's kind of take it to about there. Now I do need to come back and do that sleeve. Just kind of roughly, just feather it up there. Just let it go to nowhere. Around here. So this is the sort of green that I'm wanting on the sort of outer edges, especially where it's been fussy cut. Now don't worry if you're painting around fussy cut stuff. That's not a... See, there's a bit left there. This is a good opportunity for you to make sure you have no lift anywhere. But the good thing about the paper is it's very forgiving. So if you get any on it, you can, if you do it quick enough, you can just wipe it away. So let's just blend that out into nothing. What I'm trying to do here is, what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of the sort of ghosting where I applied the Mod Podge. So just take it as far as you feel like that's eradicated that. I don't know what that is there. More water here. And then here it's got a bit more yellow in it. So I haven't got yellow down here in my palette, but I know that the skin is a bit yellower. So just go around there. Man, your tummy is making some weird and wonderful noises.
Sorry.
Like that on there like that. But I'll keep
it's all that healthy food I'm eating.
Yeah, I've got Martin, whether he wants it or not, on a diet. He's keeping me solidarity, Marty, isn't it?
That's right.
My healthy eating. That's right. That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be on a diet when you're on a diet because you're a great cook, and you imagine all these wonderful dishes that are low calorie.
Funnily enough, they all involve chickpeas.
Yeah, but it just basically means I eat what's put in front of me.
Eat a lot of chickpeas.
Eat what's put in front of me and nothing else.
All those, that's not true. I saw him running past me one day to the point where he was moving so fast he knocked over something. And I thought, what's he running with? And I realised that he was running to his office with a cake.
Well,
Yeah, I don't mind. He's being really good because I know I have to be around people that eat sweeties and cakes. I mean, it's not going to work if I don't. But the thing is, right now he's being very kind of keeping the cakes away from me, aren't you, Matty?
That's right.
That's right. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm filling in where the fussy cut is lighter. It'll almost make it look like there's a cheeky little blend around what we've done. The complicated parts like the sleeve we'll come back to that, but really you're not missing anything here. I'm just kind of, where it isn't fussy cut, for example, here, you have to make a kind of management decision. Well, that there doesn't make any sense. So I'm getting rid of that. And let's just take this down, this darker green here. We can make it lighter again. Here, a bit more water. Because that's a fuzzy cut part. And we can blend that into there like that. And this here, as long as we start near the colour like that, we can just blend this darker stuff into here. Just make sure it's a little bit nicer than that. Do you see what I mean? So that's how you do it. You just kind of build up your parts. Now this here is quite dark down to here, so let's just go in straight in with I want to do something different down on this corner and bring in a lot of dark. So let's just do Amsterdam green on its own down the bottom here. And let's just whack that up to here. And we'll see what
whack that up to there.
Just whack that up to
Just
there.
whack
it.
that.
Just whack it up, Marty. And then I want a lighter colour again, so dipping in my Chateau Grey into my cream and getting myself something a little bit lighter for in here. And bring that round this leaf. Until you've kind of got, I don't want to eradicate a lot of the purple either. I want to keep it because the purple kind of, I think, goes quite well with here and the background of here and here. So there are parts of this. It's so hot today. It's nearly 30 degrees. And I think that it's not conditions I'm used to working in. And I'm getting a wee bit.
It's not conditions Scots in general are used to at all.
No, it just keeps lifting a wee bit. Right, so that. Now, this here would be a dark one. You can see what I'm saying. I've done this millions of times, but it's for those that go, right, well, okay, you know, I've got 3 sheets of paper in the post. How do I make this into a piece of furniture? And really, it's just about ripping it all apart and getting something that you like, and then, you know, blending it all together. And don't worry about that little rim down there because I'm going to be dealing with that. That's not the problem here. I really want to be a bit lighter here again. Put here. I'm going to get on, I'm going to blend all of this, and then when I come back, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that arm, because this sleeve is going to play a part for something that's going to go round this edge now, but clearly it's coming together. Danger zones for me are this part here. It's not right, I can see. I'm going to have creams on this part here, but you get the gist. I'm going to get on and do it. All right, I've put the blend round my main thing as much as I want right now. I painted the sleeve in yellow, and when it's something like this and you're trying to make it look like it blends in, just kind of make it up as you go along. Like, just put some, I'm just filling it, and these diamonds are now going to play a part, funnily enough, on the border that I'm doing. Just enough that it doesn't look weird. Now it has got a white line lining around it. A wee bit of brown shading, but apart from that, let's just call that good enough. Yeah, maybe a wee bit of shading in that diamond. And if I dip my brush in the old ochre and I just do something like, oops, if I actually dip my brush in. And that kind of just makes it work a bit better. It looked a bit weird with these sleeve cut off, so these are all the little bits you can do that kind of fix it up as you're going along. Now, I'm reasonably happy with this. And what I'm going to do now, slightly off field, is, oh, you've no idea how heavy this piece is.
You're not going to move that, baby.
God, I'm not, no. Goodness, I'm really not. Okay, right. So I want this.
This little piece is unbelievably heavy.
It is so heavy. Right. So I want something that replicates this. So let's just do wiggly. I want shorter here. Like this. Bear with me. It will be self-explanatory hopefully in a minute. And then as we get down, I want much bigger wiggly lines like this. Wiggle. And then up here, I'm going to go. Hopefully you can see what I've managed to do here. Or maybe not. Now I'm going to take because I want this to be purple and yellow, so I'm going to take my yellow and I'll worry about I thought if I did it in white, it meant I wouldn't have to line it like this, but I want most of it sort of eradicated. So, and this is going to take 2 coats because I've chosen the yellow. So, you know, because that's obviously makes it much harder. And what we're going to do is we're just going to paint in these sort of irregular kind of diamond shapes like on his sleeve. I could have used a stencil, but that would have been a little bit contrived because it would have come out a little bit too, and because it's movement in fabric, I thought this is probably the best way to attempt what we're doing. It'll all remain to be seen once it's all painted in. So I'm going to get on and do this. I'm going to do the same on this band up here, this band here, but I'm going to leave down here just now. So all the way around, I'm going to do these sort of harlequin diamonds-esque kind of thing. Okay, I'll go off and do it now. Right, so I've put the irregular harlequin around the edge, and the reason for that, the irregularness is just kind of comes from the design itself. I don't think maybe a stencil would have maybe worked the same way. And when I did this, I eradicated the white line because it wasn't quite right. So I've got a different colour of Sharpie marker. These are the cool tone ones. These are the sort of rough colours that you get in the packet, and these are a thin point ones, just in case you're uncomfortable about painting in some of our stamps. These are fantastic. So what I'm doing is just in a sort of irregular way, I'm just going round the diamond shape like this, just to tidy up the edges and to add to the sort of, it kind of gives it a little bit of a standout. And when I painted these in, I used a little bit of orange in between in the centres of them just to kind of give them a wee bit of shading, and a little tiny little bit of brown. Not much of a much difference, but it kind of gave me a little bit so it wasn't one flat shape. And then some I didn't paint all the way through to give that sort of kind of almost sort of dirty, sort of smudged effect. So I'm just finishing off these last ones here. I need to touch in there. It's a little bit messy looking, and do that. Right, so that's the sides done. Now you can see there's an orange stripe round here. Remember in the mood board, now I said this was just a sort of, it's just a mood board. I'm not planning on copying it, but I want it to make it look more like a card. So the way to do that is to paint the square in orange. Now on my palette here I have some orange, which I put a little bit of Antibes green in. No, a little bit of Amsterdam green, just to kind of muddy up my orange. I'm trying to get to this sort of colour here. You test it on your paper, you'll kind of work out. And that obviously comes from my original. There's my original orange there. And I've used the green going round it, and I've used the purple as the background and the yellow for, so my mood board and the colours is all working. So basically, I'm trying to keep it reasonably tidy, but I'm not too worried about this because I'm going to have to paint this little bit in. I'm more worried that I don't put paint in that recess because I don't want that. Because any bits of those, I'll have to get a tiny little brush and go into it. So as it would have been ideal if this had been a flat fronted piece of furniture, but you saw the piece of furniture in the beginning. It was an absolute disaster and it was going to landfill. So this was the design I had thought of. So I thought, well, this is where we're going. So when you come down to the corners, just take your time. If you've got a piece that's got some, like, any outy details down here, and this is where you can probably, I would advocate that you use masking tape. I'm not going to. I won't surprise anyone. To here, relatively straight. Check what I did over here. And what I did was I brought my brush down over these two ridges here and carried it down so that I've got a frame going all the way around. Now I'm going to tidy this up off camera because it's got a little bit messy looking, and I'm looking for reasonably slick today. And one thing you'll notice is, although there's layers on here, it's quite a tidy sort of piece for me. It's not a lot of, I'm trying to keep it in check. So that's what I'm going to be doing to make sure that I've got this in a sort of frame. I'm avoiding in this recess, but I don't mind if it touches here because we'll do something with it. Now, the next thing, I may as well just finish this because I'll go away and I'll forget. That I looked at, I went back to my mood board because I had planned to do lots of different things. And sometimes you get far into things and you think, oh, this doesn't work, because to kind of do a sort of tarot card, I want these shapes going around, but there's no real room for that. And I will come back and do shapes. But I had my own stamps out thinking, well, I could do something, but that doesn't go with everything else here. So not that one. I wanted this border, but this border's too thick. It doesn't go on anything. And I have other thinner borders, but I'm actually looking at it and going, I don't think it needs that. Now, the next colour I'm going to mix up is, and you're going to need a wee tidy small one for this. Let's see what I've got in here that's maybe, I think there's a contender here. This one here. So mixing a colour, I want, see this? The darkest tealy green we've got here. So I am going to get a big dollop of my Frida Blue. About that much, I would imagine. Clean my brush. And while I'm at it, I'm going to try and get rid of that scoop of orange that infiltrated it. I want to add some green to this to get this sort of colour here. Now, you can see it needs a little bit of brightening. So I'm going to add a little bit of deep green. Let's see if it's a bit more blue. A bit more blue again, I think. No, it's too green. Colour mixing. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now, that colour there is, if I touch my brush up in there, you can see it's I need to get that back out of there now. You can see it's a match for that. So we know that's the right colour for the paper. Now what I'm going to do is this outside edge. Now this is going to take a little bit of time because I want to do a nice 3D job. This outside edge is going to align like the imaginary tarot card. So I'm going to go around the whole piece doing this, lining it all the way in the square. Now, the next thing, because I've decided I'm not going to put a lot of stamps on it because I like it the way it is I still have to do some sort of design around the card itself, even if it's just in this orange part. But I want the words "the full" on it, and I think this here is just a really good place to put it. I'm not even going to be bothering. This was a font which was called something like Old English Tarot or something. Not quite sure, but I pretty much think I can do this myself just with paint, and I'll just get a pencil and just draw that on there. And I thought that I could afford to put I thought maybe this stamp here I might put in the corner there and turn it around and put it in the corner there and then have the words coming across here. I could have the words there if I'd wanted to, but this brings it all together quite nicely, having this purple drawer, unless I come along and I do some kind of pattern along here, but then it's going away from the original concept. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go away and do my little blue line. I think my teal line, and I think this edge here is going to be teal, and this part here I think I'm going to make orange. So teal and orange. Let's just show you so you know. So this band here is going to be orange, and this band here is going to be teal. Yeah, and the square all the way around. And then when we come back, I'll have hand-drawn the full across there, and then we'll work out how we're going to get some sort of pattern into the orange line all the way around. This bottom band, I think I'm probably going to, it would be quite nice if it was grounded. So my natural thing is to do it the dark green, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just do this band here, a thicker green, have this, and then I might be able to manage to put, I just love this stamp. I was just thinking I might put this stamp along the bottom just to give it a little bit of something. And after that, I'm going to stamp the top. I'm doing bare minimum on the sides, because there's quite a lot going on, and I think I'll carry these loose shaped harlequins onto this panel here, and I'll maybe put them on this side panel here so that there's a nod to the front, and I think that's enough. So we're getting on, we're cracking on. So I'll get on and do all the little fine bits. It's going to take forever, and we'll be back. I just drew this out in chalk. I mean, you can see what the font's like. It's pretty bumpy and kind of messy looking, so I don't think it'll be that tricky to do. So let's just make sure that we make it kind of the same way. Kind of messy and bumpy looking. I'm sure there's a name for it, a technical term, but messy bumpy is what we're getting here. You can see that this drawer aperture I painted yellow. I just thought it would make the sort of the name part stand out. I also went ahead and did all the bits that needed done. The next, once I've finished this part here, I'm going to go on to the sides and just do the irregular diamonds on the top panel and the bottom panel that I said I was going to do. I forgot, I'm supposed to be making it look bumpy. This is good if you've got a shaky hand or you're not really great at hand painting it. This font is quite forgiving. Yeah. Either or, do you know what I mean? Just
you've got a shaky hand, then make it.
Yeah,
this is your style.
This is your style. Yeah, make it, own it.
It looks cool.
It's just checking that I've got. I think that's rounder, not sharp, right? It's a funny situation that I find myself in, because normally you're trying to make all your lettering look good, but no, this will do. This works for me. So I think I don't need to do much more of this, because I think that's, you understand the kind of assignment. Yeah, just kind of make sure that they're all the same thickness. Now, what else have I done? When I finished everything else off, I wanted to make this look more like the tarot card, so I got my little brush and I went back into my teal green, which is this colour here. Just check the other side, and got a bit much paint on my brush.
Excuse me.
I want a moon here. I decided to hand paint this because, oh, why not? And I need a little, not quite a star, more one of these sorts of pointy diamond, should we call it? Pointy diamond. Then pointy diamond here. And then the same, but in a smaller format. Yeah. Don't know this is a new brush, but it feels like I've been sweeping a chimney with it. It's quite. Keep laughing.
Sweeping a chimney with it.
Well, it's all. I don't know. I just started using it last night. I must have been scrubbing the canvas. I was painting last night, but I was scrubbing the canvas in frustration. I was trying to do still life.
Which was very good.
At the end, I wished I had a life. I was like, oh.
You haven't finished it yet.
Oh, I'm hoping for a miracle. Right, so I've done this little shape here. I need to tidy that up with the purple, because that's not straight. But then what I did was I just did a kind of And again, this is good for the shaky hand painters. You know, you just, you know, give it a wee line along here, and it doesn't have to be straight because that's part of the design, right?
Part of the charm.
Part of it. It's supposed to look like that, right? So, and this carries on down there. I mean, on this part over here, what did I do? I just did the same thing. I just did a moon, but I'll have, if my moon's facing in, just get my coordination right. My moon's coming out this way this time. Like so. And again, back to the wee pointy diamonds. Pointy diamond there. Now, boom. Quite. And back to the sugarly lines. Wait, are we saying sugarly? That's a good Scottish word, isn't it? Sugarly.
It is.
Sugarly. A sugarly dike. That means a wobbly fence. Right, so you do all that and you're good. I'm going to finish off. I am a fool. I decided I wasn't going to put the stamps on because there's no stamping everywhere. But I tell you what we could do. We could add a jolly wee bit of artistic license here and do... let's do... a wee moon there. And... a wee moon there. See? Oh, but I'll finish it off with some of those pointy diamond things there and there, but I'll finish that. I'm going to go and do this shape, top, bottom, come back to the top. Oh, now, I want to show you this, right? Sometimes when you get an old piece of furniture, it isn't tidy in there. You can't ever make it tidy. So what I do is I put the green on first and then did the orange, and then I just went doop, 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 doop in a very messy fashion all the way along. And I think it complements the piece because I could have got masking tape out and did it. I mean, that one there is, you can straighten them up as you go if you think you've made a real, I mean, there's messy and messy. But that's what I did there, and I thought, I quite like that. So I will obviously be doing that on the sides as well. I still haven't got anything for the bottom yet. It's eluding me right now because I was going to stamp it, but because I said there's no real other part of symmetry with stamps, I'm not going to. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it purple. That might be the answer. I might tape off the bottom. That's what I'm going to do. And I tape off this to here and have this bit below it. And I'm going to paint it black because that's the only piece of black, and that'll ground it all the way around, right? And next time will be the top, and then after the top we'll be done. Fabuloso. Right, okay. Using some Stays On ink and one of my own stamps from the Bazaar set, and I used this one last week because I really like it so much. What I'm doing is I decided on standing back. I don't really think it needed anything on the top, but I promised you stamping, so I thought, well, I'll just do a wee row of this right at the front. And apart from that, that's this piece done. I've done the black stripe down the bottom, which I'll show you at the reveal. But yeah, I just really love this stamp set. I'm obsessed with this one. I'm trying not to use it too much. Get sick of it. But it just comes out so nice. And I used the black because the writing's black and it's got the black bit at the bottom. And I thought that just gives it another bit of a nod. I didn't put the black around each side only because we're kind of trying to make out that the front is a tarot card. So anyway, get on, do this. Next time I say, ceiling, French chic, tough top coat in a plastic container with a green disc budge. Get it all sealed up. 2 coats, and I'll be back at the reveal and it will have handles on it and everything else. Okay, well, you saw the horror show that we started with. I think it had been painted with acrylic paint or car paint or whatever. So it shows you how good Annie Sloan is for actually covering up with it being a non-prep paint, 2 coats, and it looked as good as new. So that's something good. What did we do today? I used Made by Marley decoupage paper. I used the This guy here from the set that's called Whimsical, and the toadstools, funnily enough, from the set that's called Toadstools. That was quite self-explanatory. Anywho, decoupaged it. I decoupaged some parts and blended to the edges. The way I kind of put it together was quite clever. So I didn't, well, not clever. I'm not saying I'm clever, but I didn't have to do too much disguising edges or transition work. It was all, Eddie, stay where you are. It was all kind of done. So I'm huckling him now. Huckled.
Okay.
He'll just trot off now. Oh, no, he won't. The tarot card idea was really part of my mood board, which is here. And never underestimate how much a good mood board can help, because when I look at this and I look at this, I pretty much I didn't use the stamps, that's the only thing, but I didn't have the room. By the time the decoupage was added, I didn't have the room. So and once I'd done some hand-painted accents, it was nice just to keep it that way. Because I promised you stamps, I put a row across the top, but I think that this is the black band at the bottom. Why black? Because it's obviously it makes it look more weighty at the bottom. Plus, it's also a tarot card. So that's all I've got to say about this, Martin. Do you have any pearls of wisdom?
Well, it's not going to surprise anyone.
He loves it.
But genuinely, I really like this one. I really do like this one. Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie came in before. She was popping in because she'd been at the beach because it is 30 degrees outside. And she said she thought it was lovely and she wouldn't mind having it. But she says that a lot about my furniture. So I was like, meh. We've not put handles on it. Well, this is it without handles. By the time they've finished photographs at the end, it will have handles. But right now it hasn't got any. So yeah, that's been it for today. We've been Martin and Noel from Made by Marley. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and if you've got any hypes, hype me. And share the word. If you're looking for anything that I used on this piece, just hop over to the website and Martin will have the link in the description. We shall see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.